earlier you alluded to talk about like loving yourself. Let's talk about something since everybody here is basically 30. Jay's turning 30. Viv's about to turn 30. Right? Do you guys think it is easier to date in your 20s or your 30s?
Well, let me just say, I'm not having very much luck.
It's rough out here. I mean, I thoroughly enjoy being single. I feel like 20s, you're a little bit more reckless, and it's definitely more fun. But 30s, it's just kind of like you're still having fun, but like things get old quick. You cut the bullshit, and like you know more what you want.
Yeah. I think it's easier to date in your 20s.
You tolerate things more.
Yeah, and because
fun.
you tolerate more, and you're just more like free spirited at that time period, right? Like usually it's a time, if you're single, you're still like going out.
Okay.
The only reason why people stopped going out like a lot is because of COVID.
Yes.
So I feel like that forced a lot of people who were like no longer like 21 to 25 anymore to kind of like grow up. So it is easier in your 20s, yes. But it's only just because I think like the time period is different. Like you're at a different stage in your life.
Okay.
So it's more difficult now after 30 because you have, not saying that you didn't have it before, but like standards and very, long thoughts about like, because the next person that I would like date, like we're getting married.
Manifested.
Yeah. I say it to myself in the shower, but only just because like I don't like to date. Like I think we talked about it in one of our older podcasts, but I don't know how to date really. So like, if I'm like, like I don't want to have to go through all of that,
Yes.
and like the talking stages and all that stuff. Like I don't want to do that so much. So like I'm always pretty cautious about like who I put myself in that situation with. But I think it's only more difficult after 30 because like, I mean, what you're saying, you're just like, you're thinking about things more, like, so you're not wasting your time and things like that.
Before I let you guys go, I want to say something. First, answer this question. Just yes or no question. Do you guys think you guys are behind in life?
No.
No? Okay.
A little, but no.
Good. All right. There's a saying, right? Because like I feel like a lot of people, and they hit 30 and they're still single, they like, oh my God, I'm still single. They feel like they have so much pressure and all this and all that. But in reality, I feel like nobody's actually behind. Just because you're 30 and you're single, you're not behind in life.
I think 30s is like the new 21.
Yeah.
And I will say, like, I used to love going out clubs. I still enjoy it, but part of it is it's COVID. And now lately the music is more catered to like the younger crowd. There are kind of like older lounges and older clubs that people go to, but it's just not as much, or it's more of like a hike just to get out there.
Yeah.
But when like I do go every now and then, and it still can be fun. You just have to find like the right place, the right music and DJ.
The feeling of being left behind is something that was like, the reason why people might feel that way is because life was different from like when we were younger. Like people were getting, dude, I was like, I'm gonna be married by 25 and have fucking 7 kids. I mean, I still want a lot of kids, but
You are going to have a lot of kids.
yeah, I don't know if like birthing, I don't know, like my friend, she wanted like more than 2 and she was like, I'm done.
Hey, man, my mom is smaller than you, and she had,
No,
She had a lot.
it literally tears and rips.
your body's made for it.
Juliana,
I don't know.
I was almost a 10-pound baby. My mom is 5'3", 5'4".
Yeah, my mom is 5'3", right? Like 120, 25 pounds.
I was a little more than 4. I was,
She pushed out 4 childs that were over 9 pounds. Yeah.
What did she feed y'all?
I don't know, but obviously something right because I'm tall.
Yeah. That was the standard, right? To like
Yes.
get married young, and then, but now sitting in our like 30s, you're kind of just like, oh yeah, like I don't, I can't even imagine having a child right now. I feel like I just like kind of grew up like a couple years ago, like I'm definitely have been grown for a while. I've been on my own for a while, paying my own bills and everything like that. But like just like mentally and like emotionally, I don't even feel like I'd be even capable of like having a like a child, like, you know, creating that like life, you know, I guess. But like it's an old mindset, old standard of like, you know, getting married young and then, you know, having kids or whatever like that. But that's why I feel like people might be.
I saw this recently. It said that people shouldn't feel left behind because, like they say, that if all your friends are like ahead of you in life, if they're married and have kids, you shouldn't feel left behind. Because sometimes, just because you're like starting later, you're primed for a bigger launch off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Lift off. You're primed for a bigger lift off.
I mean, I get all that, you know.
So you never know, man.
Quote
That
shit and,
See, I look at the glass half full. I was going to say, piggy off what Viv said. I agree with you because honestly, if you look at like the trending music recently, the best just hasn't been like a rap song or like a booty shaking song that popped off in months. Like everything that's major is like a EDM song. Or,
Yeah, like going out isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like I enjoy,
yeah,
you know, like people watching good music, having a good time.
yeah. But the new music, I can't get down to that. I
Yeah.
can't get Drake. Please save us with "For All the Dogs." Please, please. Like Drake, like Travis Scott's new album. I was like, man, ain't no shaking songs. Like, there's some, but anyway, regardless, I haven't hit 30 yet. I'm holding on to this too in my age to the very
Yeah, I'm
end.
definitely still trying to browse and find lounges or bars or whatever that has like a good vibe.
I will agree with what you say, Juliana. Like and Viv, I don't want to say you're. No, the best way to say it is your patience for BS is so much smaller.
yeah.
Like the pitter patter, like the back and forth. You're like, all right, just give it to me straight. Like, what are you?
Like the ditziness, like like everything. You know what I mean?
It's just different, you know?
So are you saying is it harder or easier to date in your 30s? Is it harder to date
I'm
in your
not
30s?
30 yet. You know what I'm saying? Just kidding. As you get older, I would say
It's probably both for Jay if he's single.
I've been single for 8 years. Come on now.
Going into your 30s.
Christian?
Welcome to the club.
And I will say
Go ahead, Jay.
it was easier probably when you're younger, just because it's easier to date because you deal like Viv said, you deal with more BS or not BS, but you deal with that stuff differently. So I don't want to say you're living in the moment more, but you're more willing to entertain more people, more things. So you date more. You know, you date more people, you date them for longer periods of time. Versus when you're older, you're like, well, I ain't messing with this, cut. Or I'm not like, how many people now that you go on one day with them, maybe 2 days, you're like, I'm not, this is not worth my time. And you move on because you kind of know like, well, they're not going to really fit with my life or whatever. So maybe it's not harder to date, but you go on less the older you get because you're more particular, which is not a bad thing.
Christian?
I had two perspectives because I was single in my 20s and I was single in my 30s. So from an like exposure perspective, like you get more exposure to people in your 20s. Like for example, in college, it was so easy to like you're around the people like your same age, right? So from that perspective, it's easier to find somebody. But from a dating perspective, I think from a maturity level, you're both growing at the same time. You don't really know what you want. You're kind of just like figuring it out together. In your 30s, you're less exposed because you don't go out as much. Your friends don't go out as much. But also like the people that you find in your 30s have a lot more baggage. Like I don't know where I'm going with this, but I would say it's tougher in your 30s because then you have to put up with, like, you have to accept that if you are going to date somebody in their mid to late 20s or in their 30s, most likely that they've been in serious relationships and they got some baggage on them or they have kids.
You're unpacking
Right.
a lot.
That is true.
That
You know
is
what I mean?
true.
You're
I will
unpacking
say,
a lot.
all right, I agree with you. I think it's easier to. Sorry, I think it's easier for you to meet new people in your 20s, like you said, because you have
Yeah.
more energy to go out. But I actually think it's easier to date in your 30s because, like I said, because you have a lower tolerance for bullshit. It's like you're gonna cut out all the drama off rip. Like if I meet somebody and like I know, because like people, when you're in your 30s, you're better at reading people, you're better at reading situations, and you have so more what's the word, social aptitude, is that the term? So like you can basically, like, I could look at this person and be like, all right, this person ain't it. I ain't gonna spend my time and waste any time on you, right? Or even just like conversing with somebody. Like if I met somebody first time like on dating apps, I'd maybe like have like exchange by a day or two of like, oh, this ain't it. I'm good. She can't even like do this, or she can't talk. Like from a girl standpoint, like you
Yeah.
could talk to a guy, you can text him after a day or two, like, oh, this guy ain't it. You can just cut it out.
Weed them out quicker.
Exactly. So that's what I think, it's easier in that aspect, that you're not wasting your time on people. Whereas in your 20s, because you're meeting so many people and got more energy for it, you're just entertaining so many more people. And then you get yourself into situations that you probably shouldn't get yourself into. And then you just like do all this stuff. And from a guy's perspective, I don't know for women, but from a guy's perspective, I think it's easier to date in your 30s because you're more secure financially. So like, if I want to go out and I want to go on a date, like it's cool. Juliana, let's go on a date. Where you want to go? Want to go get sushi? Let's go. Ain't no
When you
problem. I
when
got
you were
you.
in college, were you dating
Omakase.
somebody in college?
Huh?
Were you dating somebody in college?
Yes.
Did you go on like legit dates in college?
Man, it's been
It's
a long time.
Like dating in college is different though, because
It is. It is.
you don't go on like
You
dates.
get like food,
Yeah.
or you go like
Yeah.
do something active
hang out.
together.
The
You hang
library.
out,
You hang out.
play Smash Bros. Maybe
Winery.
Yeah.
No,
The
they're getting.
library.
Oh, I
the
was gonna
library.
say,
Let's go study. Oh
they're
yeah, go
getting
get a study
barefoot
room.
at the Giant and going down the street.
I don't, like I
to
said,
their house.
I think it's like when you're in your 30s, it's different. Like you're more intentional about your dates. And you're actually like I said, lower tolerance for bullshit. You know, it's better at reading people. And so like you're not wasting your time on people you shouldn't be wasting your time on.
Yeah.
So it's easier in that aspect. But it's harder in the aspect that you're not meeting as many people as you are in your 20s.
Yeah,
That's my perspective.
yeah.